All right, guys, Andrew Bobros here. Hey, I just got back to Utah and I just wanted to kind of recap some of my thoughts that Kyle and I had being at the game and really just sort of discussing where the Chargers sit right now. I found a really cool article I want to talk about. I read it on the plane and I thought it was awesome. Great little takeaways, but I want to talk a little bit about the Chargers, kind of where we at, where we stand, some injury updates. Just got one across the board here right now. But guys, let's get into it. All right, guys, I found this really awesome article that I really think is a good recap of some of the things that we can learn from this game. But I want to recap just a few things that we did. I know the format was horrible, guys. Looking back on the video now, and I'm like, oh my gosh, just the thread, everything was just horrible. But in conversation, I just got word that it looks like Jalen Guyton has a torn ACL. Guy, the injuries just keep mounting. It's so frustrating right now this season, right? But at the end of the day, okay, I don't want this video to be getting worse and worse, and we're going to continue giving you updates. You're going to see more videos from us this week because of all the news coming out. But I want to go through this real quick. I'm going to do a real quick recap of my general thoughts from the game, and then I want to get into this article. One, Thunder Alley was absolutely amazing, guys. I had so much fun. It was so amazing, so positive. Free tacos for everybody. I know that sounds kind of stupid to say, but it was amazing. I just couldn't believe that everyone was like, yeah, dude, here's free food. It was incredible. I love seeing that. And they accommodated the Jaguar fans. It was just an amazing time. I got some awesome footage. We're going to try and compile it, maybe release it at some point this week and go from there. Look, I think that Herbert's got moxie. He wants to be out there. There's some arguments both ways of whether or not he should have stayed out there as long. I think we should have sat him the entire fourth quarter after that game was over. Look, I love the Jaguars offense, man. They looked great. They looked absolutely amazing. I love the two running back sets. I've talked about it so many times. I think with the amount of running back talent we have, two running back sets is a really interesting way of potentially fixing our offense to some degree. So I really like it. And remember, guys, it's a long season, right? This is a long season. I don't want you to think that this is we have to – the house is not on fire at this point. But I'll tell you right now, people are upset. People are upset with Lombardi's play calling. I think our offense is a little bit uninspired. But it's going to be really interesting to see how we right the ship. The thing that I did like that I heard about was that Sebastian Jones today called a team meeting with just the players, getting them amped up. And I love that, right? Guys, this team is too talented to be playing the way they are right now. They gave up on that game, and that's hard. It's hard to see. It's frustrating. And we're going to have to see how this team responds against the Texans. Other thing, too, I will say, too, also is that we are going to be having a Texans video on Wednesday. So we got a beat writer for the Texans that will be live with us Wednesday evening. So that'll be a lot of fun. So definitely join that. Have your questions ready for the upcoming game. And also really interesting to see how, again, this team responds moving forward. So, look, there's plenty of time to correct this issue, right? And it's LA after all, guys. I know that people are out for blood and people are frustrated with the way we perform, but it's a long season. Look, at the end of the day, there's a lot that we can learn, right? One of the other things I want to discuss, and I'm just going to go through this article. I think it's a really nice recap, and I'm going to add my color, my thoughts to it as well, too. And by the way, this is just on the normal Chargers site right here. And Eric Smith did a great job of recapping. It's interesting because he's very much in line with what I was thinking. And, obviously now we know Guyton literally just came across the wire that Guyton, as I'm shooting this at 2:30 my time in Utah, he torn ACL. He probably will be out the season. And that's just absolutely frustrating. So the thought is we're probably bringing up Mike Bandy, but another loss we're going to have, Slater's out. Torn bicep, he's probably gone for the season. My brother talked about that in a video that's hopefully released before this one. Guys, the injuries are mounting, and fingers get pointed, and people start getting frustrated, right? And you got to think of the amount of money that the Spanos family has invested in this team. not to have JC Jackson out in the field. Apparently his injury is not feeling well. It's not healing properly. These are decisions that, unfortunately, the coaching staff start getting fingers pointed at. So, look, there's a lot to discuss there. So let's go to this article. I want to discuss it because I think it's a really good cohesive way of just kind of going through what we can learn. I'm going to add my thoughts into it, but I read this article a couple times on the plane ride back from Los Angeles to Utah. I think it's really important to see, again, how is the Chargers going to respond, right? Look, we're playing the Texans, right? And they're no joke, right? There's going to be a lot we're going to discuss about the Texans moving forward. But look, this team has way too much talent to be playing the way we are. And like Drue Tranquill just said, look, it's embarrassing. And the thing about the Jags, I'm going to say this specifically about the Jags. They played great football. I really loved the offensive scheme. They were really running more like a college spread offense than really an NFL type of offensive system. And so, again, I don't think we were prepared for that. I think we really were thinking more about who's going to play. Justin Herbert going to play, or is Daniel going to play? And I felt like our eye was off the ball and we got behind and we just didn't try to fix the ship at all. And you could argue, look, that's a coaching issue, but at the end of the day, guys, we did not respond at all. Okay. In the 3 games that we've played, we are horrible in the second half. Okay. We scored 10 points the first half and then absolutely nothing the second half, which is absolutely embarrassing. And again, this is a problem. And I'm not taking anything away from Jacksonville. They played great. There was a guy that threw some comments out there on our live last night, started talking about his players. And I'm like, guys, great. You won 2 games this season, right? You won 2 games. Yes, they made us look bad. But at the end of the day, they're not Pro Bowlers. And that's kind of the point I'm getting at, right? When you have 8 players that are ranked in the top 100 in the NFL. By the way, no other team has that. We have more talent on paper than any other team in the league, and we get embarrassed by the Jags, who were the worst team in the league last year, right? So embarrassing is the right word for it. One thing I would say also, we lost them really by death by 1,000 cuts. I think they ran 73 plays, right? And they just did these short little dink and dunks, and then they eventually had these breakout plays. And so bottom line, guys, we did not do well on both sides of the ball. And you really can't blame the defense because the offense was just off the field the entire time. They couldn't get to rhythm. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as well, too. But my point is, embarrassing is the right word. Death by 1,000 cuts is also another word, right? We just did not play good team offense or good team defense either way. It's interesting. Pastor Joseph Day, he called a team meeting. I really think this is great. Look, it just shows that the players need to take ownership of their losses. And by the way, SJD, he did not stop. He played great even into the fourth quarter. And I was very impressed with his moxie and his ability to just try and keep making things work. Ashton was elected captain for a reason, and he showed, hey, look, we need to get this thing moving in the right direction. And again, this could have been Derwin, it could have been anyone, but bottom line, we got to hold ourselves accountable. And by the way, I love Drue Tranquill. He did a great job. He's out there. He is hurt, by the way, guys, and he's still out there playing and showing what he needs to do to try and make things work. Look, it's a 17-game season. He's doing such a great job of recapping a lot of these things too. We're sitting at 1-2. Look, if we split, we go to 2 at this point. Okay, we'll see what happens. At the end of the day, again, we talked about Staley a little bit more before. People are absolutely angry at Staley. And I'm going to do a video a little later on when a little bit more news and media comes out around Staley and kind of what they're thinking about leadership-wise, because there's a lot of very angry reporters and people that are really saying a lot of negative things about Staley moving forward, his leadership, all this and that. It's amazing how a fall from grace can happen so quickly when the team starts losing. And I understand coaching decisions become an issue, but again, it's the players that are out there playing, right? Make no mistake about it. The players are the ones out there making plays and not making plays. Look, we got to get better. Cool. We just got outplayed. And it's true. I felt like they just did not play well as a team, and the Jags did. So, it's really interesting. So, eh, bottom line, the loss is lost. It's in the books. Not much you can do about it moving forward. Let's just move forward. And again, Joey Bosa right here is another person I want to discuss. Don't know what the situation is with Joey. I know he has a groin injury. Hopefully it's not too bad, but typically, hopefully we probably won't have him for the next game, but we'll give you injury updates as it moves forward. Herbert's performance was not great. His accuracy was down. Obviously, his fractured rib injury affected him horribly. There's a lot of discussions around, did he get the shot? Did he not get the shot? There's going to be a lot of information coming out about this, guys. I'm really curious to see what happened. If he did or did not, or where he's sitting with that. Right? And boy, did he get the shot? I just don't know. It's scary to look at, right? Because, guys, he's our crown jewel, right? And again, everyone in the lot, just as he's stating here, is hurt. Everyone's hurt. This is a violent sport, ladies and gentlemen. We know that. And so playing hurt is part of the game. And it's one of those situations where you have to sit back and say, he wanted to be out there. And there's arguments both ways. Well, I think in the fourth quarter, we probably should have sat him. That'd be my opinion. But he wanted to finish the game with his team and not give up. But there was almost no point in him being out there. So that's something that Staley is going to have to continue addressing this week moving forward. It's interesting how Staley responded to that. But again, he's still got 300 yards, which is absolutely amazing to me. His efficiency was way low. That is not a Herbert type stat line right there. And with Guyton going down, as I mentioned earlier, we'll probably bring up Bandy. So we'll see what he can do, right? I will keep you guys posted on that information. And again, injuries are mounting. The one thing that I've already discussed, not having Keenan Allen out there for third down was huge, right? I really think the wheels fell off the track, and this is kind of a recap of what we did last night. As soon as Corey Linsley went out, everything just fell apart, right? J.C. Jackson's not himself. Keenan Allen is not there for third downs. And it's really horrible. And look, Donald Parham is another third down type of target for Justin Herbert. And I just feel like these things are just starting to make things just get worse and worse. Now, I will say this. It'll be interesting to see what Kremstorff can do. He was in there, 0 pass rush on Trevor Lawrence. That's a real big concern. Mac was not there. He did not play well. You got to wonder what's going on with that momentum. And again, you lose someone like a Joey Bosa. Look, the team can play you differently. And let's just hope that Khalil Mack can stay healthy and move forward. So I think the protection was not where it needed to be. It's interesting that they interviewed Will Clapp. Look, I really do believe you don't replace an all-pro center with a backup like a Will Clapp. Look, and nothing against Will Clapp. He's not Corey Linsley. Corey Linsley is arguably one of the best centers in the league. And that's a problem, right? You're not going to get what you need out of a guy like a Will Clapp when someone like a Corey Linsley's out. Now, this does bring up an interesting thought, though. Storm most likely will not be our left tackle option. I was talking to my brothers. I don't know. The question is, do we put Jamari out there this week? We'll let you guys know. I want to look at some of that conversation because it would be interesting to see if he does take that left tackle position. Boy, that would be a huge, huge situation for him if he could step up and make it work. Storm just is not recovering. He's not doing well, and he's not playing well, right? The left side is not his strong suit, so we'll see what happens there. And again, Kenneth Murray was hurt for a while. He came back in the game. Very interesting to see what happened there. Obviously, Jalen Guyton is still hurt. Torn ACL, he's out for the season most likely, at least that's what I'm hearing. So I think Mike Bandy will probably be brought up, is at least my assumption as it stands now on Monday at 2:30 my time. Look, and this is an interesting point. Our offense did not look good, right? Our run game looked horrible. Again, I think it starts with our protection. Corey Linsley is our center, and we have not been able to run the ball at all. But it's one of those situations where we have to sit back and say to ourselves, okay, how are we going to improve? This is one of those games where you just sit back and say, like, why were we so bad? But again, Herbert did not have a Herbert-esque day. He was not accurate. He wasn't doing well. The injury was hurting him. But we really struggled to move the ball on in our running game and also our passing game moving forward. They never got into a flow. Okay. And so, bottom line, we've got to get better offensively. Look, offensively, it's a gut check time. It really is. They have got to figure it out. Now, we're playing the Texans, and guys, they are not a slouch team. Okay. They beat our asses last year with, quite frankly, the worst team that they have now, playing fairly good football right now. So it's something that we need to look at. And again, I look at somebody like a Joe Lombardi and I keep saying, all right, man, your play calling has become extremely predictable. It's one of the things we talked about quite a bit last night. It's one of the things that I've talked about for a very long time. I do think that we're just not being innovative in any way, shape, or form. And this is horrible, guys. I wanted to highlight this stat. Through 3 games, we have gotten a total of 177 yards and no rushing touchdowns. So we're putting it all 100% on Justin Herbert's plate to score points. That's not going to work, guys, moving forward. Again, we haven't established any type of rhythm. It's a problem. So, again, we can keep pointing fingers, and pointing fingers is not going to work. At this point, we have got to right the ship across the board, offensively and defensively. And players need to stop being complacent. And again, this is another point we talked about last night as well, too. Our defense was on the field way too long, right? Our offense did not get going. So guess what? The defense has to step up and do everything. The defense gets banged up when that happens, guys. You know that, right? We need to start playing team offense and team defense. If the offense is playing great, then the defense has time for a breath and they can start moving forward correctively. So what they really need to do is get together as a team and start getting back to normality, right? We are not playing good offense or defense. And again, I think we Asante Samuel's playing out of his mind. He's playing great defense. I think Mike Davis played great. But bottom line, we just did not play team offense or team defense, very well, right? And so I think the Jags had, 73 plays that entire game. Death by 1,000 cuts, guys. That's exactly what happened. They just chipped us away. Slow bleeds, and we just could not get off the field. And that 50-yard touchdown by James Robinson was just absolutely horrible. 4th and 1. I remember looking at Kyle and saying, "Game's over. This is it. That's the dagger in the heart right there." And this is exactly. I felt like I wrote this article because there's such a good recap of everything I thought from the game, and there's a lot to be said about this moving forward. I will say this. 3rd down was horrible. We did not do well. We have a lot to fix, right? We have a lot to fix. All right. So I'm going to recap my thoughts here and just give you my final thoughts moving forward. Look, this is gut check time. We lost death by 1,000 cuts. We have got to right the ship and figure out what this team really is and what this team really isn't. Right now, we are not a running team, okay? Right now, we're also not really a passing team because Herbert's hurt. We're not protecting him great. Yes, he's not getting sacked, but he's getting hit. Those hits do add up and accrue, especially with his injury that he has now currently. So it's gut check time. I will say this. If we lose to the Texans, then I think things are going to get real nasty, right? And there's going to be knives out for Staley and coaching staff. My prediction would be if we lose to the Texans this week, Lombardi will probably be fired first. And then Staley might have a couple of games to right the ship with a new offensive coordinator, and they may let him go during the break. And that's harsh reality because think about this way. The Chargers and Spanos' family have spent a lot of money putting this team together. And we're talking a lot of money, okay? J.C. Jackson's hurt, $83 million. He's not even out there. And this injury happens. Bosa's hurt. Slater's hurt, right? Herbert's hurt, right? Corey Linsley's hurt. A lot of our big-name players are out there and hurt. Now, again, you can argue that that's not a coaching issue. But at some point, a business decision has to be made. So, guys, what do you think? I want to hear your thoughts. Put your thoughts down below. Am I way off? What do you guys think? We're going to continue putting a lot more content out this week because this is really interesting. It's interesting to see where the Chargers are going to go this week. I know it's a bit of a rant. I know a little over 20 minutes at this point, but look, I want you guys to engage with us. Tell us what you think. Let's discuss the Chargers. What's going on? What do you think? And are there other videos you'd like us to put out there as well too? But look, at the end of the day, guys, yes, horrible. Okay, horrible. Okay? It was an embarrassing loss in our own stadium. But at the end of the day, the season still has a number of games left. We can fix this. And, again, it's gut check time, right? And we've got to see how this team responds. We are way too talented to be 1-2 at this point, right? We should really at least be 2-1 and trending positive, as Brandon Staley likes to say. We're going to continue giving you updated information whenever we find anything that comes through, anything we think is noteworthy. We're going to do a video on it. And again, check out that live stream that we're going to be doing on Wednesday. And again, I just want to recap again. Thunder Alley was absolutely amazing. Guys, I had such a blast with my brother. And I'm just so excited. Planning on coming to potentially the Broncos Monday Night Football game. Obviously, already planning on going to the Arizona Charger game as well, too, with my family. So you'll see me at more games. But as always, guys, bolt up. See you guys in the next one.